All right, folks, check this out. We have yet another stunning bombshell development in this whole story surrounding Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, and Ghislaine Maxwell. In the past couple of weeks on the story regarding Epstein, we've seen Donald Trump's panic go from bad to worse. And this might be why, because author Michael Wolff and journalist Michael Wolff just revealed that Donald Trump and his White House believe it was Ghislaine Maxwell and her family who leaked the birthday card that Trump sent to Epstein in 2003, and they did so as an intimidation tactic to basically blackmail Donald Trump and let him know that they have dirt on him. That's what the White House believes. That's what Michael Wolff, the journalist, is discussing right now. I want to play this clip for you. There's some major bombshells in here. Before I do so, make sure to subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, comment some American flags, some hearts. Now, let's dive in and see what he had to say.
In the White House, they believe that the story in the Wall Street Journal about the birthday greeting that Donald Trump, the salacious birthday greeting that Donald Trump sent Jeffrey Epstein in 2003 on the occasion of his 50th birthday, was a leak from the Maxwell family. And in the White House, they regarded this as, quote, a shot across the bow. So a threat, if that Ghislaine had damaging material on Donald Trump. So Donald Trump's lawyer, who, as it happens, is also the number 2 in the United States Justice Department, but principally is Donald Trump's own lawyer, went down, and I expect to try to figure out exactly what Ghislaine Maxwell has, and then they would figure out how they might have to handle that.
Wow. I mean, there is so much wrong with what Michael Wolff just said in terms of how the Trump administration is conducting itself. The first point that stands out to me is if you're innocent and somebody's trying to blackmail you, like Ghislaine Maxwell saying, I have all this material on you, at least that's what the Trump White House believes. If you're innocent, then you have nothing to worry about. But the Trump administration is in active panic mode over what Ghislaine Maxwell might know about Donald Trump or what her family might reveal about Donald Trump. And that brings me to the second point, that not only is Donald Trump worried about this, he's actually taking action to cover it up. And as Michael Wolff just said, Donald Trump's former personal attorney, Todd Blanche, who is now the number 2 at the Department of Justice, has been meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell. We've talked about it on this channel, trying to figure out what she knows. And presumably, part of that conversation has not just been, hey, we're trying to figure out if there's other people who got away with doing bad things, but rather it's trying to find out what she knows about Donald Trump, what she's willing to reveal, what she could reveal about Donald Trump. And what Michael Wolff is saying here explains a lot. It very well likely explains why Donald Trump has been flirting with the idea of giving Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon. He's been asked about this a number of times, whether it be a pardon or a clemency, and he's kind of responded in this very strange but similar way of, I can do so, nobody can tell me I can't, the option is on the table, I just haven't thought about it all that much. Somebody who has no connection to Ghislaine Maxwell, has nothing to worry about, would just say, yeah, I'm not pardoning her under any circumstances, she's done horrible things. Donald Trump, on the other hand, has taken a different approach. Take a look.
Different. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But maybe it's slightly different.
Mr. President, would you completely rule out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell when you landed? Is that something you would ever consider, and why?
Pardon for who?
For Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, I'm allowed to give her a pardon, but nobody's approached me with it. Nobody's asked me about it. It's in the news about that aspect of it, but right now it would be inappropriate to talk about it. So
that is just such a nothing burger answer. It's just filling the space and the time with random words. But what he did do there, and what is most significant in this clip, is he left the door open. He is not fully closing the door on a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell. That's why he's saying, I can do it if I want to. I haven't been approached about it, which I'm not sure I 100% believe. I actually say that's probably not true. I imagine people in the White House have brought it to his attention, because Michael Wolff has also reported that Donald Trump considered pardoning her in his first term because of similar concerns of what she might reveal about him. But I don't necessarily believe that. And he's leaving the door open for a possible pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell, and she's actually lobbying very publicly for Donald Trump to intervene in her case. We just learned recently that Ghislaine Maxwell has been subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee in the House of Representatives to come testify, but she's playing hardball, and she's once again attempting to blackmail Donald Trump. She says that she will only testify if she is granted immunity for her answers, and if she's not granted that immunity, she will invoke the Fifth Amendment right for every single question. She also, through her attorney, David Oscar Marcus, added that if Maxwell receives clemency from the president, she'd be willing to testify openly in public. And Maxwell's legal team has been saying things along the lines of, well, Donald Trump's a deal maker. You know, he should make a deal here. They've been playing directly into Donald Trump's ego. And I said this in a video recently. I firmly believe that we are getting closer and closer to clemency or a pardon being given to Ghislaine Maxwell by the day. Donald Trump's actions, his refusal to close the door, the way that him and his administration and Maxwell's legal team are indirectly talking with one another, kind of making public statements that indicate they're both interested in kind of a deal, seems to me like they're working their way to that. And it seems like, you know, if I'm Donald Trump, or at least my view of what Donald Trump might do, he might strike a deal with Ghislaine Maxwell to implicate other people to kind of get the heat off of his back and protect himself. But the really gross thing about all of this is that we know who Ghislaine Maxwell is. The fact that Donald Trump is even talking about giving her a pardon is disgusting. And I think that Simone Sanders on MSNBC broke this down very well recently, talking about just how monstrous Ghislaine Maxwell is. Take a look at this, and remember while watching this that this is the person that Donald Trump is flirting with pardoning. Have a look.
Second time the president he had an opportunity to say, I would not give this lady a pardon. She is a predator. But he again demurred and deferred. This is who Ghislaine Maxwell is. This is an excerpt from Dateline. A woman named Virginia Guthrie is telling Savannah Guthrie that she gets approached by this beautiful, well-spoken, well-mannered woman with an English accent, prim and proper, she said. It's so funny that you're reading a book on that, because I know this older gentleman who's looking for a traveling masseuse. He's super rich. He flies around everywhere. Savannah asked her, did she say her name? And she said, she told me her name was Ghislaine Maxwell. And she said, if you're interested, you can come by the house tonight and go for an interview. I read that because Virginia Guthrie was recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell. You know where she was recruited at? Mar-a-Lago, at 16 years old. Okay? So when the president today talks about the help that Jeffrey Epstein stole from him, when he refuses and demurs on condemning Ghislaine Maxwell, what he is talking about is young women who were sex trafficked, young girls who were trafficked, who were baited, groomed, and trafficked. And he is talking about a woman who was the chief recruiter for the trafficking organization. Help me understand.
Yeah, help me understand. I'm there with her. I mean, seriously, this is insane. And so all of this is to say that Donald Trump believes that Ghislaine Maxwell and his administration released that birthday card as a warning to Donald Trump because they believe that she has dirt on him. The central question we should be asking ourselves is, what dirt? What does Ghislaine Maxwell have on Trump that the Trump White House is so worried that they're talking about clemency, they're talking about a pardon, they're making all these strange moves? It just doesn't sit right with me. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say in the comments. Let me know. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video as well. It goes an incredibly long way in supporting me. I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing rest of your day.